welcome back to another episode of Level Up. I am your hostess, Wendy Nolin. This week we are talking about how to compare yourself to others. You know, from infanthood, we learn to compare things and objects and people. As we become young adults and teenagers, our comparison includes ourselves and comparing ourselves to others. And then we learn that this is an important part of competition and vying for the attention of those that we have some affection for. So as we get older and we start to see this comparison occur in other aspects of our lives, certainly in business, what I've discovered is there's an unhealthy level of comparison that can happen. And this is what can set us up for failure. So I have a couple of ideas that I'd like for you to take into account and keep in mind if and when you do find yourself comparing yourself to others. The first thing to keep in mind is that you must first have your own vision for yourself, your success, your path of achievement, and what you desire. So the first thing to do is start with that goal or whatever it is you want to seek or achieve. Because if you are relying on modeling yourself after someone else and their success, then you might fall into the trap of unhealthy comparison and end up trying to strive for or achieve something that isn't really about you or what you want. It's someone else's definition of success or achievement. So start first with what you want and get very clear on what that is. Then, when you do begin to compare yourself, make sure you're only comparing you to you. Don't compare yourself to others unless you're really sure that, number 3, the comparisons are common and there are common traits that you're comparing. This is tough to do because we're all so unique and every business is different. Here's a quick story. When I was going through an evolution in my business 3 years ago, I remembered that there was a line from Tony Robbins in one of the many recordings of his that I listened to, where he stated, model your success after someone else who has achieved the success that you wish to achieve. And I took that very literally. I found a coach, I hired her, and I began to model myself after her. But what I discovered was I was setting myself up for failure because on one hand, I was trying to compare myself to her, which was a very unfair comparison, but I was also trying to be like her, and I'll never be like her because her background and experience is so different. But yet I was inspired to achieve greatness just like she had, but in my own way. So it was a little confusing and a little conflicting. And what I learned was I was comparing myself to her now in her profession to where I am now in my profession. And we were years apart in our experience. In fact, she has twice as many years of coaching experience as I do. So it became a very unfair comparison, and it was intimidating and threatening me, and I was actually setting myself up for failure. So what I had to do was take stock of what I want and what my definition of success is. And then, instead of comparing myself to her, compare myself to myself and look at the milestones and the benchmarks that I've achieved over the course of my 7-year coaching career, and then set more benchmarks and milestones for myself moving forward on the way to my journey and my path to success. That way, I'm only comparing me to me. And then again, that final aspect is when you do find yourself comparing yourself to others, try to make sure that you're taking that old quip, which is compare apples to apples and oranges to oranges. Try to find as many commonalities as you possibly can so that it is a fair comparison. Well, that's our episode of Level Up for this week. I hope that these pointers give you a couple of things to think about when you find yourself comparing yourself to someone else or your business to someone else's business. I'd love it if you're watching me on Facebook right now, if you could give me a thumbs up. If you're on my YouTube channel, go ahead and click subscribe now. I'd love it for you to also visit my website. Go to the blog page on wendynolin.com and subscribe. You'll receive a free download of the 7 Tenets of Achievement to help you get started on your journey to success. Also, connect with me on LinkedIn, follow me on Twitter. I have a few boards on Pinterest if you'd like to check those out as well. And of course, I also have a Google Plus page. That's it for this week. Keep leveling up. This is Wendy Nolin, and I'll see you on the flip side.